Good evening, everybody. Hope you're all doing okay. And I have to say, today was an okay day in terms of um, just not feeling horrible. Any day I don't feel horrible is a good day. Um, so, what's happened since I last talked to you all, which has only been about since Wednesday. This being Friday. Yesterday was a very rough day. I just did not feel well at all, and just did a lot of resting, sleeping. Um, just you know, just didn't feel well. Not much else to say about it. Um, Today I got to speak with my palliative care doctor. We had a visit online on. It's not Zoom. It's through the portal of the hospital. So, excuse me. Um, I got to tell her what's been going on and how everything is progressing pretty quickly and noticeably, so on and so forth. So we talked about all that, and she said, I'm here to help you in any way I can. And so I asked her at that point about switching to hospice. As some of you may or may not know, hospice is hospice. It isn't just, I've been doing hospice now for at least 6 months, in the sense that between me and my palliative care doctor, I said I'm not doing any more treatment whatsoever for anything. I will not go to the hospital and be put in the hospital for any reason. I will not go to the emergency room for any reason. I'm not going to be getting any new tests or any of that kind of stuff to figure out this symptom, that symptom. That's all done. I'm done. I'm completely done. And I'm just waiting, not waiting, but, I want to die naturally. And so she's on board with that. She's been on board with that from the beginning. And back then I saw my heart failure doctor and told her the same thing, and she understood. And then I guess it's been about 3 months ago now that my palliative care doctor, we discussed prognosis, and it was at that time that she, said 6 months or so. Nobody can tell you for sure, but 6 months seemed reasonable. And so everything about what my life is the hospice. I only want any kind of medication I take is only for comfort measures, and so on and so forth. But because hospice, it's palliative care and hospice, they are kind of together. They're together. They both deal with end of life potentially. Hospice definitely end of life. Palliative care with people who have life-limiting illnesses. And when you're on palliative care, if you wish to, you could still have all the care you want and treatment you want and try to still be cured. But palliative care is for people who are on these life-threatening diseases. So that's why I've been on palliative care for, I think close to 2 years now, because I knew this time was all coming. So with hospice, however, it's a Medicare benefit. And being that it's Medicare benefit, it's run by Medicare, which is a governmental agency. So they make up the rules and regulations and who qualifies for hospice. and it entirely depends on your diagnosis. So, for example, in my situation, well, even 3 months ago, 6 months ago, with my situation, if I had cancer, I'd be on hospice. No questions asked. 6 months or less to live, not doing any treatment, not trying to get any cure, just palliative care, comfort care. With cancer, I'd be completely and totally on the hospice program, where hospice would be paying for the benefit. And they pay for supplies like a bed and a commode, and the medications would come through paid for hospice rather than for straight Medicare, so on and so forth. However, when you have other diseases that are life-limiting, which heart failure is a fatal disease, takes time. Like I've been diagnosed with heart failure for 12 years, but probably have been in it longer. But you can have heart failure and live a pretty long time, and get better and get worse and get better and get worse. And I haven't had so much the get better and get better aspect. What I've had is just a very slow decline through all these years, and mainly because of my heart condition that I've had my entire life. So with hospice, you have to meet certain regulations, certain parameters to get the hospice benefit. And one of those is being on oxygen. Well, I'm not on oxygen. I don't need oxygen. I get very short of breath with exercise, with movement, with talking. I get short of breath, but my oxygen level doesn't go down. My lung capacity is about half of normal, but the health of my lung tissue isn't bad. It's okay. It's not perfect. There's some problems. I do have some pulmonary fibrosis, but it's very stable and so on. Anyway, so you have to kind of prove by certain signs and symptoms that you're going to die within 6 months, unless you're an ex-president of the United States, for example. But people come on and off hospice all the time. That's not unusual. People, it seems like they're, got 6 months to live, they go on hospice, and they get better. And then they go off hospice. Then they get worse. They go on hospice. So it's just a matter, it's strictly speaking, a benefit that's paid for by Medicare and therefore has all these regulations. And partly I didn't want to be on the hospice benefit because I really like my doctor, my palliative care doctor. I think she's wonderful, and she's really supported me through a lot, and I didn't see a whole lot of benefit, quite frankly, to switch to the hospice benefit. But now that things are getting where they're at, things are getting close. We talked about today switching to hospice, and she encouraged me to think about it, seriously think about it. And a couple things she said made me really think that it might be very close to time to do it. One of my biggest fears has been if I die, if I have a sudden cardiac arrest and die, then it's all moot point. That's the word. And but if I have a natural death where I kind of just dwindle down, like people do on hospice, to the point where you're in and out of consciousness and you have the labored breathing, and then you're out of consciousness and you stay unconscious, and you have changes, other changes in breathing, and so on and so forth that can last a couple days or weeks. And my fear has been, since I live alone, what am I going to do when I'm no longer conscious? When I can do nothing for myself, nothing. I can't even go to the bathroom. What am I going to do? So today she told me that, the Pennsylvania hospital system has an inpatient hospice. It's different. I mean, hospice used to be a very largely inpatient thing. And in more recent years, of course, to save money for the government, to save money, and for insurance companies to save money, they made it more of a home care benefit. So when you're in hospice, you don't get a lot of help from the hospice company. You really don't. You get a nurse that maybe comes and sees you once or twice a week, depending on your condition. You get a home health aide who can help you once or twice or three times a week maybe, to do personal care. They're not there to clean your house or do your laundry or do any of that stuff. They're there strictly to do personal care, like wash you, that kind of stuff, shave you, personal care, help you take a shower, that sort of thing. They're not going to clean your bathroom, nothing. All that's nothing. They make sure you have the proper medications for pain and for breathing issues and anxiety and so forth. And so about 80% of the hospice job is you and your family. The hospice doctor, well, the doctor hardly ever sees you. The nurses and aides are the people who go to the house, go to the home. But they're not offering the kind of care people think a lot. It's up to the family. So in my case, since I do live alone and I have no family, I'm trying to organize some people who will be able to at least come in, spend some time with me, help me out a little bit, to be able to maybe give me something to eat. As long as I can still take a shower once in a while. Even now that's getting hard. Washing myself at the sink is getting hard. So all that stuff's getting harder, but I can still do that. Though I do get short of breath. Anyway, so today, but she told me about this inpatient hospice so that when I become incapable of doing anything for myself or I become unconscious, I'll be able to go to the inpatient hospice to be taken care of until I finally die. And that was a great relief to me, believe it or not. It really was. Because one of my last worries that I've had is that last bit. What am I going to do when I literally can't do anything? Where I can't do anything. And where I'm not even conscious most of the time. I can't imagine, like if I have friends who can come in during the day and sit with me for an hour or two, or an hour in the morning, an hour in the evening, or something like that, that's great. But I can't imagine being in my apartment alone all night long by myself and not be able to even get out of bed. Or, perhaps not even be able to take my medications because I'm asleep or whatever the case may be. So that's been my last and final worry about getting everything sort of sorted out. And See, getting so out of breath talking these days. Give me a minute. Not a minute, a second. Anyway, so now I feel I've got the last piece in place. The puzzle is complete for me. All my worries have been addressed. All my concerns with my friend Pam have been addressed. End of life issues, paperwork, all set. You know, cremation, check. Burial, check. It was just that last bit. So, what I told her is I would think about it for over the next couple days, over the weekend, maybe give it a week, and see how much further advanced my symptoms are. Today's Friday, by Monday, by the middle of the week. But I am, I am tending to think that it's time. It's time to say, okay, let's do it. Let's have a hospice evaluation. They come and evaluate you to make sure you meet all the criteria. There isn't really a single one I don't meet, except that I don't need oxygen. So I know now I have whoa, there goes that dizziness again. You know, without much question at all, and even my doctor today didn't question at all. I said, remember when we talked about I'd be surprised if I made my next birthday, which is mid-November? And she said, yeah. I said, well, the way I feel now, the way things are going, I'll be surprised if I see November. And she didn't think that was an unreasonable thought. So, yeah. The way I'm feeling and how rapidly things are going, I think maybe 6 weeks is more like it. So if that doesn't qualify you for hospice, then I don't know what to tell you. It needs, the hospice benefit needs to definitely be tweaked because there's big problems with it. I'm not saying with the hospice companies, although there are those too. I'm just saying the benefit needs to be looked at. It's leaving a lot of people out who could benefit. I'm afraid I don't want to be one of those people, but it frightens me that I could be. So we'll see. But the way I feel right now is probably by next week, Monday, we'll see how I feel. Tuesday, I'll probably get in touch with her and let her know that it's time. I even have an appointment to see her on the 16th of October. And I said, can we see how things go? And because it's an appointment to see her in person. Because I said, the way things are going, I'm not so sure I'll be able to, walk to the bus, get on the bus, take it out to the hospital to see her. And she says, let's just make it, an online, a telehealth visit. Let's just change it now. I think that's what we need to do. So I'll see her one more time at least, on the screen. So I'm getting exhausted, so I'm going to stop because I'm really pooped out. I walked to the end of the block today to have some coffee, tea, and sit and read for a little bit and sat out in the beautiful, beautiful, beautiful weather day. And it's gorgeous. And back home, so that's 2 blocks, and I was just beat. and the reading. But it was just, I needed to be outdoors. I just had to be. So anyway, Have a good weekend. Not that that makes any difference for me at all. Weekend, weekday, doesn't matter what day it is. Doesn't. That's something I don't really keep track of much anymore. But I wish you all well, and I wish, and I hope that this helps anybody. If anybody else is in the same position I'm in, or has family members, friends, loved ones who are, just know that you're not alone. You know that though this is difficult, and it really is difficult, and I'm really tired, emotionally, I think I'm doing really pretty great, and really even less frightened of dying now than I've ever been. It doesn't mean at the moment of death that I won't be like, oh my gosh, here it goes. But it's also going to be like, what? Okay, let's see, how's it going to go? Whoa! That's kind of how I picture it in my head now. It's like, being on what do you call it? I can't think of the word. The amusement park, the roller coaster. And you get to the top of that hill and you're just going to go over the edge and you're ready and you go down and So it's scary, terrifying, and exciting all at once. And yes, that's how I see it. So, good night. Take care. Thank you so much for listening. Goodbye.